This is the Unspoken Podcast on the Undetermined Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Unspoken Podcast, Cheap Seat Sports Production, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. It's episode 43. We're inching closer to the 50th episode.
Oh my god, it's actually happening. I can see it over the horizon.
I think the apocalypse is about to happen.
The apocalypse is about to happen, but we're going to get to that later. It's a different apocalypse.
No, that's not an apocalypse. That's just a case of bad gas.
And on that note, let's just get right into it. It's a sad day, guys. It's a really sad day because baseball season is over. I'm never used to this feeling of the baseball just ending.
You know what? When I grew up, when we were watching baseball as kids, that used to be like the only sport I would really watch until now. I watch about everything except hockey because for some reason I can't get into hockey. But I'll watch Major League Baseball, watch the NBA, I'll watch the NFL. But the only sport I watched growing up was Major League Baseball. When that was over, I was like, oh, great. Now I have nothing to do. Now I got to bore myself with other things for 3/4 of the year. So
I recommend one of the paddles. You know, one of the paddles with the ball attached to it.
Oh, a stupid paddle ball racket?
Yeah, paddle ball. But the World Series of 2017 has come to an end. The
Houston Astros are the world champions.
Yes, and
First time in their history.
What's that, Nick?
Go ahead.
Oh, it was. Yes, you're right. It was history making. It was their first World Series title, but more importantly, I think it was probably one of the best World Series we've ever seen.
This was a unique World Series. I think everyone is highly qualified, whatever analyst it was, whether it was the Fox team or the TBS team or any other crappy team we want to see calling the playoffs. I actually think we had a decently called playoffs with John Smoltz and Joe Buck. But looking at some of the aspects, now, a lot of people don't remember this, but I'm going to ask you guys, do you remember the Sports Illustrated cover from 2014?
Yep. I remember it vividly. I remember it, coming to my home vividly.
So it was on Twitter from a guy named Ben Ryder, who tweeted it right after Astros won the World Series. And he posted the actual story, and I'm looking at the cover now. And it says, baseball's greatest experiment. And it's a picture of Astros center fielder George Springer. And it says...
Who won the MVP?
What?
Who won the MVP?
Who won the MVP, correct. And it says, an unprecedented look at how a franchise is going beyond Moneyball to build the game's next big thing. And it also says, your 2017 World Series champs.
That's actually cool on Sports Illustrated's part.
That is scary. You guys ever seen Back to the Future Part 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that bit with the almanac.
What's freaky about this is when I remember getting this issue also and being like, wow, someone's crystal ball must be working. And if that works, then maybe they could predict the lottery numbers so I could be a millionaire also.
Yeah, I want the lottery numbers too.
Man.
I was just like, wow. Like, I said, nah, it's not going to happen. The Astros are not that great right now. They just came off a couple 100-loss seasons, and it took a lot of luck. When they see these young teams winning in the World Series, Springer was a draft pick. Correa was a draft pick. Altuve was from the international pool. Keuchel was a draft pick. Just looking at all these guys. And then you have other guys like Charlie Morton, who they signed off the scrap heap from Pittsburgh on a 2-year deal and basically was a savior in this World Series, pitching 3 innings to win the game. I mean, this team is just... You can't explain it.
You can't. And you know what? When we look at this series, I think the takeaway for this is how this team is, and I don't mean this as a pejorative, but they're full of zombies. They just refused to die. You cannot curb stomp these guys away. And they just continued to fight. And just when you thought they were on the map, boom, 3-run home run. Boom, lights out pitching performance boom, look at Bregman flashing a little leather.
Although you can say it goes for both teams kind of in this World Series, because there were a few games where just when Houston did something like that, LA fired back with something.
See, that's what's unique about this World Series, that if you look at it, a lot of people were saying, the Dodgers might win it in 6. But then when you're looking at how this series went, all right, the Dodgers won game 1. Okay, usually the percentages are when you win game 1, you're going to win the World Series. Okay, now we got to look at the rest of the series. Houston won game 2 on a fortunate situation with Kenley Jansen, who didn't pitch very well in this entire series.
A very rare Kenley Jansen blow save.
Yeah, but if you look at the other side also, Ken Giles didn't pitch well either. The closers were bad in this series. You have to look at the middle relief. The middle relief is what really saved this series, or else I think it would have been a lopsided in favor of Houston. They would have won this a lot sooner.
No, they definitely would have. And you know what? See, everybody wants to place the blame on Yu Darvish, and he definitely deserves his share of it, but I don't think that it was entirely his doing. The series.
Yeah, I wouldn't say entirely his doing, but when you go out and you spend the money and trade for like the kind of trade and stuff the Dodgers made during the trade deadline for somebody like Yu Darvish, you expect something good in return. And I believe it was Stephen A. Stephen A. feels that because the Dodgers couldn't win the World Series, this season is a failure, which I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Well, you know what? I half agree and half don't, because they have had really good teams. They've won 100-plus games, I think, 2 out of the last 3 seasons. So that if you win 100, and they were the leading, I think they had 104 wins this year. I'm not sure exactly. I think they had 104 wins.
The winningest team in baseball this year.
But you know what? When you're the best team in baseball, as they've been highly touted the past 3 or 4 years, and you don't win a World Series, the bullseye's on your back. Remember we talked about how Cleveland had the bullseye on their back. They won 22 in a row. They're a 100-win team, and they can't make it and win the World Series. Well, like the Indians in the American League, the Dodgers are the National League equivalent, where they have the bullseye on their back. So you kind of have to look at it from that standpoint. Is it a disappointment? Yes. But at the same time, making it to a World Series is one thing, but making it to the World Series and winning it is a whole different thing.
Well, it's easy for us to say. I mean, we're Yankee fans, and we are conditioned to automatically think of a year in which we don't win a World Series as an abject failure.
Which we shouldn't anymore. We shouldn't. Those days are gone. Those days
are way beyond gone. And you know what? As all three of us
were ever here in the first place.
Right, and as all three of us said, go ahead, Tom.
But it's like as we said with this Yankees team, it's like what we agreed with at the beginning of the year, and we had to remind ourselves throughout this postseason, just in case we had lost, that we shouldn't have made it this far, and this season should be looked back on as a success.
Right, exactly. You actually took the words right out. Yeah,
but much in the way that 1995 was.
Right. I mean, the late 90s and the early 2000s, that was an anomaly, to be honest, where the team was just, Godzilla-like, where Godzilla would knock down all the buildings, the Yankees would knock down all the teams in their way.
It was literally something we will never see again. And everybody always says, it's a goal to win a World Series, but what people don't understand, and people that have won rings say this, how tough it is to actually win a ring. It is literally the toughest thing in the world.
It really, unless you have a powerhouse team, unless you are the baseball equivalent of the 2012 Miami Heat or the 2015 Golden State Warriors, you should not have, the World Series should be a reach goal.
Well, that's why they said for the first time in 17 years, or not first time in 17 years, it's been 17 years since we've seen a repeat champion in the World Series. But another thing we need to look at is the way that this team made last-second moves at the trade deadline. What people don't realize, the Justin Verlander trade that went down on July 31st with 2 seconds left at the deadline, people don't remember that.
2 seconds to spare.
2 seconds to spare. And you know what? I think he ended up going, like, I know he didn't get the win in Game 6, but he went like 10-0 before that.
Yeah, we saw Verlander channel the inner spirit of his 2006 form, basically.
He was throwing 98 miles an hour.
And can you be any more supernaturally lucky than Justin Verlander? I mean, for God's sake, he just won a ring. He makes a lot of money, and look who he's married to. Jesus Christ!
I knew you were going to go there.
Of course, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there until it stops being funny.
And I mean, I got to also give credit to the former Yankees who are on that Houston team that are now world champions, including Brian McCann and Carlos Beltran.
Even though Beltran rode the pine for the last 3 games.
Yeah,
he's still champion.
Still counts. He still gets a ring.
Yeah, but Brian McCann, even though, like, they say catchers have a much bigger responsibility, so their job is really not to hit, he had a big role in keeping all these pitchers in line.
Well, I was going to say, they were talking about it towards the end of the Fox broadcast, right before the final out, that McCann came over to Houston because now Gary Sanchez has basically taken over New York and behind the plate there. But McCann has come over to Houston from New York, and he's basically had a great year.
No, he definitely did. He definitely did. If this is the result you aim for when you go to Houston, when you go anywhere. That's what he did it. But you know what? Cody Bellinger. I mean, Jesus H. Christ, can you have? He had a really, really tough World Series.
That was the stat.
Talking about Aaron Judge.
Right, but that was one stat you just reminded me of, Nick, that I was going to bring up. In this World Series, he left, I think, 12 runners on base this whole entire series, and he struck out 18 times in this World Series alone.
And what you said before, Nick, the left on base, I think that also was a big, in addition to the Darvish, that was also a big, big killer for the Dodgers in this World Series. The amount of people they left on base, especially in Game 7, that's inexcusable. You can't do that.
The problem is Bellinger was swinging at pitches that were not even... Now, here's the deal. You have a scouting report on guys like McCullers Jr. and Charlie Morton. The scouting report says that they throw top-notch curveballs, okay? So if you know... What?
Lay off the curveball.
Right, exactly. You have to keep the scouting report as a young player and realize, all right, they throw top-notch curveballs. I got to spit on those curveballs and work the count so I can get that fastball that they're rarely going to throw. Well, he kept swinging over the curveball.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just him. I mean, Justin Turner had his share of runners left on base.
Yeah, but it seemed like Bellinger was always up with guys on first and second.
But yeah, like I said, it's like, you know, what they leave in the Game 7 was like 10 people on base.
So 12, I think.
Yeah, 12, and then there was like a
normally
it was 12, and then like a majority in the scoring position. You can't do that.
No, you can't do that. And I have another funny moment since we're talking about Charlie Morton and Brian McCann.
Uh-oh.
So, and I put this up on our Twitter account at the UD Network about, it was a tweet from a guy named Dan Weiner, who I think it's just some random person, but it made sense. I looked it up to confirm it. And it says, Charlie Morton made his MLB debut on June 14th, 2008. Who was his catcher that day?
Was it McCann?
It happened to be Brian McCann.
That's cool.
He was drafted by Atlanta?
I guess, because I think the only team Brian McCann played before the Yankees was in Atlanta. Yeah,
he was drafted by Atlanta.
That's cool, though.
It is, and you know what? I think normally in these series we would say, "Oh, did the Houston win or did the Dodgers lose?" I think we can honestly say
Houston won
series.
No, Houston definitely won this series. And if I'll go one step further, I have another stat for you. This was tweeted out by Skip Bayless, but it was said by Nick Swisher on Undisputed. So Nick Swisher noted today on Undisputed, home teams were 19-19 in Game 7s.
Right, I remember seeing that stat.
Home teams. It tells you how much pressure there was on a home team to win a Game 7 of a World Series.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what you get. I mean, this was the first year since, God, a long time. Well, I should explain, as I mentioned it last week, during the original time before the All-Star game had decided it, they always switched it off between the AL and NL. Then the All-Star game decided, and now this was the first year that finally whoever had the big record, the better record, got home field advantage all the way through. And it's funny how we had an Astros-Yankees series where the home team always won. And now we had this World Series where we had two teams that were undefeated at home during the playoffs. And we're like, okay, I remember predicting, like, okay, the Dodgers will probably win in Houston before Houston can beat the Dodgers in LA. And I was wrong on that. Houston beat Dodgers in LA in Game 2, and they went on to win the World Series.
Yeah, see, I was confused in the sense of, like you said, all right, the Dodgers won Game 1, Houston won Game 2. It was probably just a fluke, and the Dodgers will go into Houston and maybe win 2 out of 3. But it seems like Houston, throughout this whole entire playoffs, looking at the Yankee series to start, to kind of get up to this point, all right, so Houston won both its games in Houston. The Yankees won their 3, and then they had to go back and aggressively win 2 games. It just seems like the home team this year, except for the World Series, obviously, was the home field advantage.
Yeah. Pretty much. We also had speaking of World Series, we had a nice little moment. I know, Nick, you have the audio up for it.
I do. And I'll preface it with this. So you know how, if people don't know this, the reporters for whoever has the game does the interviews with the players. So they spoke to a few players, and then they spoke to Houston Astros shortstop Carlos Correa. And I have the whole 2 minutes. They talk a little bit about the game, and then something amazing happens. So take a listen and let me know what you think.
Carlos, Houston Astros, what makes this team so special?
You know, since we went in spring training, our main goal was to win a championship. And, you know, every single day in the clubhouse, we gather up as brothers. And, you know, you can see the results right now. Great baseball. We were able to accomplish the dream of...
It was on your mind. I know Puerto Rico was on your mind. What are your thoughts right now as you think of your native land and your adopted home?
Yeah, it means a lot to me, you know, to do it for the city of Houston, be able to bring joy, happiness to their lives. And in this moment right now, it's really special. The same for my people in Puerto Rico. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for the support. I can't even describe the feeling right now.
You've dreamed of this your whole life, this feeling. Is it everything you thought it would be?
It's everything and more, man. It's everything and more. It's one of the biggest steps of my life, one of the biggest accomplishments of my life. And right now I'm about to take another big step in my life. Daniela Rodriguez, you make me the happiest man in the world. Will you marry me? Will you marry me? Yes? Yes, I did.
Oh, what a great moment here at Dodger Stadium. Wow. We've had a lot of firsts here tonight. The Astros win their first world championship in franchise history. And we've got a marriage proposal. She said yes, and congratulations to the Correas. The Correas to be.
So I just thought that was very interesting and good timing because if
I want to see Joe Buck call that wedding.
Yeah, so do I.
I want to see him play that wedding with John Smoltz.
Actually,
Oh my God.
wait a minute. Can we get Kevin Harlan instead? Because I think he's better. Like, with all the fans that run on the field. He's not allowed to do that anymore, by the way. CBS stopped him from doing it. But
All the people on the dance floor are drunk.
But I said, all right, it would have been really bad if they didn't win. And then he had to do that proposal.
No.
What?
Or if she said no.
That would have been bad, too. But I just thought that was perfect timing in the sense of getting the marriage proposal out there.
It's like, wow, everything went right.
Yeah, it did. Oh, my God.
But as we know, the Astros won the World Series. It was their time, and they had a 5-year plan. A lot of people don't know this, but they had a 5-year plan drafting a lot of these guys and signing a lot of these guys. And now it came to fruition, and I think they're going to be a tough team to beat for the next couple of years, at least.
You find it funny how you say it's a 5-year plan. It also has been 5 years now that they've been in the American League. It's like a whole rebranding of sorts.
Right. And they had
definitely a seismic shift.
As we see, I'm getting a bunch of news. So if you guys want to talk about the MLB free agency, we can transition to that because I'm getting news up the wazoo on free agency.
I actually have a list of free agents available. I have them up here right now.
Well, let me tell you the news that the Pirates just broke.
Okay.
So the Pirates have exercised the club option for 2018 season on outfielder Andrew McCutchen.
So McCutchen is no longer available.
No.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
Even though he's a player in decline.
Yeah, that's true. It hasn't been a good time to be Andrew McCutchen. But I do have everybody up here from I have everybody up here that is a free agent. I don't know if I can do here's options. I have options, but that's separate. Of course, Andrew McCutchen, as you mentioned, Nick, $14.5 million club option, and they have exercised the right on that. So let's see. Do we want to go by? This goes by most expensive free agent from 2017 in terms of the 2017 salary. Do you want to go by that?
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go by that.
So the top free agent when it comes to value in terms of their 2017 salary is actually CeCe, who made $25 million last season with the Yankees.
And he'll not be making anywhere close to that, but I hope he'll come back.
Well, do you want to?
Go ahead, Tom.
Well, do you want to do 2017 salary? Or do you want to do by market value or AAV, whatever that is?
I would just go by who you think the most intriguing guys are, and we'll do it from most intriguing to the least intriguing. Do it that way. But since you brought up CeCe, I have an interesting piece of information. So now I'm hearing that the Mets want to be in on CeCe Sabathia, but the problem is the Mets have no money to spend. So, and actually, another piece of news I just got, because I'm getting news everywhere, the Mets actually just picked up the option on a shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera for $8.5 million. So, I don't know what money they have left to spend.
I mean, they have money, but it's all in Ponzi schemes.
Oh, shots fired. Oh, I think the Wilpons might sue us. He's up on the gas there.
They'll sue us for any money they can get.
We're broke. Jokes on them.
You left the door wide open for me to say that.
Well, I guess wait a minute. I guess you could say he's mad off about it.
You're gone.
Oh my God.
But
the two most intriguing, I think, free agents this year are Shohei Ohtani, who might be posted this year, from the Nippon Ham Fighters. Then, of course, we have the Then, of course, the Royals are pretty much losing every single position player. I think they're up for free agency now.
The whole team is.
Yeah, practically. I actually sorted it by when I sorted the free agents by market value. Now everything looks better. Everything looks like valuable free agents. So here's some people who are going to be free agents that I think are going to be interesting. Top of the market value list, as I said, the 2017 list was CC Sabathia. For market value, Jake Arrieta.
You know what? He's a great pitcher, but he's going to go out and command like 5 years, $100 million, which no one's going to give him.
Which I believe you said last week.
Right, and I think he's way overvalued. Did he win a World Series with the Cubs? Did he make a lot of? Was he the ace? Yes, but this year he was nowhere to be found, and he was hurt in the playoffs when they needed him most. His value is going to drop. He'll probably get a 3-year deal in the realm of $54 million, $55 million somewhere, but it's not going to be the Cubs.
And then other than Jake, what's up, Nick?
$60-something million deal from the Phillies. I'm telling you.
Probably. And in terms of offensive guys, right under Jake Arrieta for market value, we have J.D. Martinez. Well, I think, he will be a valuable free agent.
I don't think I know he had a good year, but he strikes out a lot, and that's a big problem. It's either you hit 40 home runs or 50 home runs and you strike out close to 200 times. Do I think he's going to be back with?
I could see a team loving his power too much to pass up on.
They don't care about the latter as long as they produce the former.
Well, right, but at the same time, I don't think he's going back to Arizona because Arizona's not going to want to pay him.
Probably not.
He may go to the Mets.
Probably not, but it's going to be fun to see who takes
He's not going to the Mets.
They could definitely use him.
They're not going to pay him. If they're not going to pay CeCe and they're not going to pay guys, they're not going to pay J.D. Martinez. Get over it.
Other than J.D., we also have – I'm just going to go down random names on this list now. Yu Darvish is going to be a free agent.
He's gone.
What do you mean he's gone?
After the performance he had with the Dodgers, he's not going back.
Oh, okay. No, I was going to really, he got signed already?
No, it's like the White Sox and that's he gone.
God. Wait, are you talking about the commentator on the White Sox?
Yeah, Hawk Harrelson. Yeah.
I freaking hate him. He's the most biased.
What?
Michael Kay is biased. John Sterling is biased, all right? I'm not going to begrudge them bias. I want home broadcasters to be homers. That's why they are home broadcasters. I want them to be carrying so many buckets of the team's water. I want them to basically tip it over and cause a flood.
I think he's goofy. I like him for his goofiness, and his calls, like you can put it on the board, yes, but it's...
Yes.
I like that, but then there's times like I think, as much as... Like there were times where it's like, I will watch a clip of like MLB and I'll see a play and it's like it's clearly obvious to me it's not in favor of the White Sox, and he'll try to put it in favor of the White Sox so much. It's like, no, if it's wrong, if it's not the White Sox, you got to be honest.
Speaking of Hawk Harrelson, let's see if I have it right here. Just because you love it so much.
I didn't say I loved it so much.
Ball hit high and deep. Stretch. Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Number 3 for Gillespie, and the Sox lead at 3-2.
Too bad the White Sox can't do anything now.
It's a good point. I can agree with you on that one.
But going down the list,
Gary Curry used to call games polluted. So,
Jay Bruce is going to be a free agent. Eric Hosmer is going to be a free agent. Moustakas.
These are all guys that are decent hitters. Like
Hosmer and Moustakas will go to the Red Sox. I'm telling you.
Oh God,
you guys so fucking hard.
Yes, because their third baseman in the past 5 years have been a train wreck, including a certain Panda that they had to pay off $50 million to walk away.
So watch them try to get Moustakas and Hosmer.
Oh, Lord. If they get both, I'm going to throw up.
And also, the Red Sox have the third baseman's curse, so whoever goes to third base there is probably going to get hurt like everyone else.
Also going down the list, we got, let's see, Jonathan Lucroy, Lance Lynn, Michael Pineda's coming up.
He's probably not. I wouldn't re-sign him.
I know, but somebody, Tampa Bay took on Nathan Eovaldi, and they're rehabbing him in the hopes that he can come back. Somebody's probably going to do that with Pineda.
Somebody probably will. Definitely.
I guess.
Let's see. Logan Morrison, Yonder Alonso, Wade Davis. They're all coming up.
Wade Davis is going to get paid. Wade Davis is going to get money.
I'm sure. I agree.
He's going to demand Aroldis Chapman money, and he's going to get it because the market for relievers is insane.
He's definitely going to get it.
Definitely. Let's see who else on this list. Lorenzo Cain's coming up. So you're right. Kansas City is losing everybody.
Oh, no. We suck again.
Well, because they can't afford it. They have a low salary cap. Not cap, but budget. They have a low budget, so they can't afford all these guys.
And Jason Vargas.
We should get a World Series out of it.
Yeah. Todd Frazier, Eduardo Nunez, Danny Valencia, Neil Walker, Cameron Maben, Austin Jackson, Andrew Kashner. Let's see, Chasen from San Diego, CC, Jaime Garcia, Howie Kendrick, Jose Reyes, Duda is coming up, Jason Wirth.
It's a bunch of now you're talking. Wow. Wait a minute. Now you're talking about a bunch of C-D players at this point.
Yeah, I'm just going through the list.
There's nobody on that list that really lights the world on fire. Even
by the way, Matt Wieters plans to exercise his $10.5 million option to stay with the Nationals. Also.
Oh well, let me bring up the players who do have options. Let's not forget them
because I have a bunch of them here that are coming in right now.
Okay, coming up. So I'm going to sort this based on option salary. Option salary at the highest at $22 million is, of course, Masahiro Tanaka, who has a player choice.
See, his situation is interesting to me because he really hasn't been that good over the years. He had a good postseason. He had one decent year. Then he got hurt. He didn't have the surgery. Somehow he didn't have to miss a whole lot of time. And now people are like, he's gonna automatically exercise his salary, his option, because he's not going to get that money anywhere else. But now people are saying maybe he is going to go exercise the market after having a great postseason. So I don't know which way you lean.
No, I think he's going to stay. I think he would be stupid. It would be stupid for him to, like, this is guaranteed. Basically, all he's got to do is say, "I'm going to stay with you guys," and he's guaranteed money.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, I don't think any of the Yankees' dominoes are going to be falling until they have the coaching staff set.
That too.
That's a problem, but yeah.
Which I'm completely surprised they haven't hired anybody.
So
by now.
Then that brings me some attention to a certain article I posted. You might remember this, Morgeson. The Yankees are letting pretty much anybody interview anybody on their coaching staff.
Yes, I saw that. And I'm very surprised because that means Tony Peña's up. That means Rob Thompson's up. That means, who's the other guy I'm forgetting? Joe Espada.
Joe Espada is already going to Houston.
Oh, is he?
Confirmed?
Yeah, he's going to Houston to replace Alex Cora as the bench coach.
Oh.
Wow.
So I have to admit, as much as we talked about last week how this Girardi thing was probably premeditated by the Yankees at the beginning of the year, but now this is just getting really interesting to see that they're letting everybody interview. It's like, what the hell is going on here?
Can you say clusterfuck? Say it with me, boys and girls. Clusterfuck.
Clusterfuck.
I wouldn't call it a clusterfuck. I would just say that I had a feeling this was coming. I'm sure you guys had a feeling this was coming. And I just think...
No, I didn't actually, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought they were going to hire in-house, though.
I think that it's going to be interesting. Are they going to hire in-house? I think they will, but now that they let Espada go, because I heard he was a top guy.
If it's not going to be in-house, then I'm telling you, it's going to be somebody from out of left field.
Watch, it's going to be a Raul Ibanez.
God,
I heard somebody else. I heard another name come.
I heard another weird name also. Do you want me to tell you another weird name I heard?
Yeah, please, because it might be the same one I'm thinking of.
I heard Jerry Harrison Jr.
Yes, that's it. I heard Jerry Harrison Jr. is being considered.
As in Jerry Hairston Jr., the bench player in 09?
Yeah, for the Yankees, yes.
Yeah, he stole home in the division series in 09.
Yes,
right?
he did.
And now
That's Jerry Hairston, right?
He was basically a Yankee for 30 seconds.
And now he's being the manager.
And Scotty was with the Mets, his brother.
Yes. You can't make this shit up. Where
you can't make this shit up, but I've got an even loonier candidate.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I asked this already, Tom, but you didn't hear it, Nick. So
okay.
David Cohn.
I wouldn't say that's not as corny as I thought it was going to be.
That actually isn't as corny. I really think that could be a possibility.
Michael Kay was talking about this, where he said he actually is an analytics guy because as a pitcher, he is very into the numbers. So if they were to do that, I wouldn't be so upset about it.
And technically it is in-house. I mean, Joe Girardi did do the Yes Network for a little bit before entering into the manager world. So David Cohn goes from Yes Network to the manager spot. That wouldn't be too bad.
But is Coney really a touchy-feely kind of guy, though?
That's the problem. The problem is David Cohn is a gut manager. Even though he'll follow the numbers, he would say, all right, I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to look at the numbers. And I think that's why Houston won the World Series, by the way, because even though A.J. Hinch was a statistical guy that followed the numbers, a lot of those moves he made in Game 7 were by his own gut, keeping Charlie Morton in for 3 innings. Which
is why I think, actually, if this is going to be the case, I would have no problem. I might actually like Coney being the manager of the Yankees.
But the problem is the Yankee brass is going to control it. That's the problem.
Well, he technically never stopped working for the Yankees, so
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, so they know him. They know him probably in and out. But the difference is, I think they're going to go with somebody. They're going to go with somebody whose name is not in the hat. Somebody
you know what?
Haven't even thought to look at.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's go with Jason Giambi or A-Rod now.
I said A-Rod last week.
God help us all.
I like how you're like, God help us all, but it's like, hey, that's what everybody in New York said when Joe Torre first came on.
It's a good point.
So well, we will see. We will see. It's going to be an interesting off season, and the Unspoken Podcast.
I just want to go through a couple of more names on this options list. We also have Johnny Cueto, who has a player option.
He's going to stay.
Yeah, it's $17 million. Let's see, J.J. Hardy is $14 million, and it's a club option, $2 million to buy out.
Gone.
Wait. Yeah, Wade. I thought I saw him on the free agents list too. But
you're thinking of Wade Davis. You said
Wade Davis already. Wade Miley.
Different Wade.
Yeah, $12 million, $500,000 buyout. It's a club option.
Gone.
Too many people named Wade in the big leagues.
Bumgarner, $12 million. It's $1.5 million buyout. It's a club option.
They're gonna bring him back on the club option, or they're gonna try and sign him.
I was gonna say it's either gonna sign and keep him, or they're gonna sign and trade him, and I think it's gonna be the former.
We'll see.
I can't see them trading him.
And really, that's it in terms of, big name. I mean, there's Logan Forsythe, Nat Wieters, Michael Brantley, too. J.J. Hardy. Oh, Bautista. $17 million, $500,000 to buy out, and it's a mutual.
So they both have to agree.
They both have to agree.
I think what's going to happen is he's going to pick up the option, and they're going to decline the option. and I think that means that he goes into free agency.
I could see that happening. Actually, I could.
Yeah, I'll see that as well.
So yeah, you're right, Nick. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I wonder where some of these guys are going to go.
Yeah, and the Unspoken Podcast will be there every step of the way. Why? Because it's 3 words. Hot fucking stove.
It's my favorite part of the offseason, too.
You're listening to the Unspoken Podcast, part of the Unspoken Podcast Network. Guys, speaking of trades, speaking of hot stove, the NFL just had a trade deadline.
Oh, did it? I'm sorry. I stepped out to take a leak.
I think I stepped out, too. But before we get to the trade deadline, Adam Schefter officially confirmed that Deshaun Watson is officially on IR for the rest of the season. So just want to get that news out there.
I feel so bad for that kid right now. This was something. He was really giving a year to remember in terms of both his play on the field, his production for fantasy owners, so both sides of the football spectrum, and now he was probably going to be the offensive rookie of the year, and now that's all gone.
Poof.
The Rangers. Oh my God! I almost said the Rangers. I meant the Texans are not able to catch a break. First it's Watt, now it's Watson.
Here's the thing. Here's Houston over the last couple of days. First, absolute elevation and ecstasy in the fact that we're the world champions. And then next day, Watson's done for the year, and it's like, right back to reality.
God opens a door, but the problem is he will also slam a window right on your knuckles.
Yep.
But it brings up an interesting thought, though. Like, we don't know how exactly he got hurt. We know the extent of the injury and what the injury is, but what was he doing during the practice that he tore an ACL?
I have no idea, but man.
It was non-contact, so who knows?
And it's sad because it's practice. You know, it wasn't even a game injury. It was practice.
I mean, since we don't know what it is, I guess we could just assume that someone beat him up or something and then he tore an ACL. I don't know.
Oh God, don't say that.
I don't know if you saw this, but Bill O'Brien had his press conference about an hour or so ago. Well, prior to this broadcasting, which is at 4:00 on Friday, and the barely held in contempt for the reporters for every single question they were asking. It was so thick and rich you can bottle it up and put it on pancakes. It was just a sight to see. It really is, because every single question they asked about, well, what did you say to the? Did you mention? Oh, I'm the coach. I'm the coach. Coaches. I don't make speeches. I'm not here to make speeches. I feel like he was about to say, "Oh, you want me to make a speech, huh? What do you think I am? Some kind of speech-making machine?"
Wait a minute. He sounds like that college football coach who was on was famous on SportsCenter. Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
Don't tell me who I am. You can't insult them, but insult me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
He probably sees reporters in his sleep.
But
every time he has a nightmare, it's probably just a guy standing in a black void with a hat and a pad and a piece of paper.
But speaking of the Deshaun Watson moment, actually, Deshaun Watson put out a press release of his own, really, on his Twitter account. I'll read it to you. And he said, "They say you never miss until it's gone, and even though it's not gone for long, I already miss it. Yesterday, I felt like I let my teammates, my fans, and my family down. However, as a child of God, I understand that everything happens for a reason, and he don't make mistakes. Today, the journey back seems far, but I've been here before and will conquer it once again. I want to thank each and every one of my teammates for their unwavering support. My NFL brothers, thanks for all the prayers. To my fans, I cannot begin to express my gratitude for your relentless encouragement. To the countless others who have reached out, I am humbled and can only say thank you from the depths of my heart. I play this game for you all, and I am grateful for the love you have shown me, not only over the past 24 hours, but through this entire season.
Deshaun, if you're somehow listening to this podcast, please, please do not say that you let anybody down.
You did.
I mean, injuries just happen.
Right. Like, that's sad. I mean, this is... What's sadder is, like, as I said, this wasn't even in a game. This was in practice.
Talking about practice.
He basically...
Hang on. I was just pulling that up, by the way.
We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game. We're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice, boys.
I don't know, but it's different.
It could be worse. I mean, he could have pulled the Teddy Bridgewater and had his knee explode.
Oh, don't say that.
Oh, you know what? And I was going to eat after this.
Nick, our Viking fan dads are probably still getting over that.
My father is in deep denial. I'm actually thinking of staging an intervention soon. I'm going, Dad, he's not coming back.
Oh, no, he's off the PUP. He's off the PUP.
He's off the PUP, but his knee is it's basically shrapnel at this point.
Don't count on it. Let's put it that way.
I know, but still. So yesterday was
Deshaun Watson to be back, though.
Yeah, I want him back, but so guys, I guess either Kareem Hunt or Leonard Fournette will now be the rookie of the year.
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Kareem Hunt too.
Yeah, record has a lot to do with it, and I think Kareem Hunt is definitely going to be it.
But yesterday was also kind of a day of injuries. Because Deshaun Watson was not the only one to go down. Pierre Garçon also going down.
He's on IR officially.
Yep. So
but he's had a lot of nagging injuries, so I kind of expected this at one point.
Kelvin Benjamin did not play yesterday in his Bills debut, which we will get to.
I'm a little surprised about that.
Probably because he didn't have enough time to adjust to the playbook or whatnot.
Well, or maybe he wasn't there yet.
There's the possibility of that too, but basically. But you know what? Let's just get right into it because I mentioned Kelvin Benjamin as a Bill. Let's just talk about the trade deadline. So it's like, yeah, they were trying to be like the MLB and the NBA, but you're not. And the NFL, no, you're not. But that doesn't.
Not in this dojo.
What happened?
Not in this dojo.
Yep. But there were a couple of noticeable things that happened in the past couple of days with the trade deadline. So let's start with a softball. The Seahawks get Dwayne Brown from the Texans for a third-round pick in 2018 and a second-round pick in 2019.
Did that come with a bag of bubblegum?
That's not even the trade I'm worried about. That trade is pennies compared to the.
That one's a fine trade.
No, but there's one trade that really blew me up. Completely.
We'll get to it. I have an order here. So then we have the Patriots trading Jimmy Garoppolo to the 49ers for a second-round pick.
This one, I was at work when this trade came up over the breaking news ticker, and I literally almost slammed something against the desk. I'm not even kidding you. I thought I was going to put a hole in a desk, and I didn't think that was possible. And basically, when I saw the trade come across the ticker that Jimmy Garoppolo was traded to the Niners for a second-round pick, I wanted to smash my head against the desk like 100 times.
Am I the only one whose immediate thought was, what kind of angle, what kind of scam is Belichick putting? Because I know there's a scam to be found here. There was some kind of hoodwinkery of some kind.
You know what's interesting?
But I don't know what it is.
You know what's interesting, though? That every time they get picks back, they turn them into stars that the other team could have had. Like, I'll give you another example. The Cleveland Browns, okay, the picks they've traded away. One of the picks they traded away was the one that got the Texans Deshaun Watson. Okay, so I forgot. They said someone else, too. I can't remember at the moment, but that was one guy. Now I'm sure they're kicking themselves.
I'm sure. Do you guys think Jimmy G starts for the 49ers?
Well,
Of course
he He has to. He's the only quarterback on the roster. Actually, no. I'll take that back. Brian Hoyer just signed a 3-year deal to be the backup for the Patriots. But he is going to be the starter, probably.
But I don't think that trade was as talkative as probably the worst trade of the trade deadline. The Dolphins trading Jay Ajayi to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 4th-round selection. And to that, I would like to officially tell you, Dolphins, wrong.
Can I make one point, though, that I feel like the NFL trade deadline should just be gone? Because I feel like you never see a fair trade at the NFL trade deadline. Because a lot of times the most value you're going to get for a star player is like a 5th-round pick or a 4th-round pick.
You know how bad this trade was?
It was awful. And Philly is one of the best teams in the NFL right now.
But do you know how bad it was?
Yes, I do.
It was so bad that Madden wouldn't take it. They tried to trade in Madden 18, and the Dolphins GM, the AI, said no.
Oh, my God. It's just, every time I think the Dolphins are actually turning a corner, that they might actually have a plan or something approximating a plan or something in the vague, amorphous shape of a plan, they come over and they piss in my cornflakes. They do.
So wait, but that means the Jets aren't the laughingstock of the AFC East anymore.
Oh my goodness!
That means, boys, go say your prayers. Go head down in the bunker. The end is nigh. The end is officially nigh. The Jets are not the laughingstock of that division anymore.
Oh my God, is that the 4 horsemen or just a very committed Amish man?
I think it's just the Amish man.
I'm not going to touch that one. But basically, I don't know. With these situations, I think the NFL trade line should just go away. And if you want to make waiver deals, you want to trade with teams, then just do it. You don't need a trade deadline to do it. You should be able to trade with who you want.
Let's see what else. We also have the Jets swapping with the 49ers for cornerback Rashard Robinson, speaking of those Jets. And actually, that works for the Jets. I mean, they've been poor in pass defense, so they get somebody now to work with.
Anything the Jets do is bad. Let's just put it that way. Anything in New York football is bad right now.
Yeah.
Bad.
Although the Jets are doing a lot better than the Giants, I'll say that.
Yeah, which if you said that to me now, like at the beginning of the year, that the Giants would be, what are they, 1-8?
1-7.
All right.
Going to be
1-7, and the Jets are 3-4.
4.
4-5.
4-5.
Oh, 4-5.
Like I would have, because I would have laughed. I would have laughed at you if you told me that.
We all would have. I would have told you a damn liar.
Speaking of the Bills, the Panthers trade wide receiver Kelvin Benjamin to the Bills. WTF?
Yeah, this one kind of confused me a little bit because I said, all right, maybe they're doing it because they don't want to sign him. He's been injury prone in the past. He missed a full season, I think, a couple seasons ago. But this guy is a touted star. I don't know why they traded him away.
He's a touted star, and he did dick all against the Jets yesterday.
But, they didn't play him yesterday.
They didn't play him yesterday.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But
dick all.
Here's a note. He's under contract through 2018 because the Panthers picked up his 5th-year option. So the Bills get at least a year and a half on him. But
that's why they did the deal, because they were going to get the year out of it.
Yeah, but still, for the Panthers' sake, why? It feels like there's nothing with this. There's nothing for them.
You know what this tells me, though? That they didn't have a good season last year. They're not having the best of seasons this year. They're kind of up and down. Cam Newton's a train wreck, dumpster fire, whether it's on the field or off the field. I think eventually what they're going to do is they're going to crack this team open and do it from scratch eventually.
After this trade, you're going to have to. Because this trade gets, just like the J.I. trade, you get not one buzzer, you get 2 buzzers.
What did they get back from? Because I didn't officially see what they got back.
Let me see. They got... I don't know what they got.
I could probably find out for you while you're doing, but keep going. I'll look.
Okay, but there's just one more thing I want to talk about. This is pretty much that's pretty much the last trade, but there's something else to talk about in terms of the trade deadline, and that was what happened with the Browns and.
What happened with the Browns?
You mean missing the deadline?
So let me explain this because Nick Federa did not hear it yet. So the Browns tried to get a deal in place with the Bengals for A.J. McCarron.
No, I did hear that. I did.
And they failed to report it in time. Because they failed to report it to the league in time. The deal was in place, and because they failed to report it to the league in time, the deal did not go through.
Get me the sad music. That deserves it.
No, that deserves the world's smallest violin. That kind of sad music.
Actually, I was going to say play the losing horn because that's what that deserves. It's the Cleveland Browns. We should expect this by now.
Although because of what happened here, now all the conspiracy theories are coming out. Supposedly, they didn't want to do the deal anyway, so they just sent it to the... Supposedly, they had sent the email to the Bengals instead of the NFL.
Oh, bullshit.
What?
I don't know. It's all the conspiracy theories are coming out now.
You know why that is? Do you know why?
Why?
I'll tell you why. Because the Browns defy any kind of logic. The fact that they suck actually transcends the space-time continuum. It doesn't make any sense. So you try to come up with the weirdest thing you can. Is it really just bad decisions? No, it's alien lizards from outer space. That's the reason why they suck.
And to think after this,
heck stuff.
And to think after this last draft, we were saying like, oh, they could have a bright future, and that maybe they need. And I've been saying that maybe they need one more draft, and then they'll have it. But the problem is, Cleveland can never find a fucking quarterback.
You know what, though? I think that again, this doesn't surprise me just because of the way the franchise has been, and also think about their fans. They have to wear freaking brown bags over their heads. Okay, so. I would wear a brown bag too, based on how the Cleveland Browns handle their situations.
I want to wear a brown bag for how the Giants are doing.
I'm getting fitted for a brown bag, actually. You should say. And I don't even go to the games. That's how ashamed I am.
But speaking of the Giants,
although I do have to note that the Browns did try to appeal to the NFL, trying to
lost.
Salvage it. And do you know what they said? The league said this.
Denied.
That doesn't surprise me either.
Of course not.
But speaking of the Giants, why don't we go across to their rival? Because we have some interesting news.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
So it seems like a certain show on ESPN, I'm not going to say who, broke the news, and it was confirmed by a bunch of other sources. But let's take a listen to the news first, and we'll comment after. Take a listen.
Literally got this text while we were talking, just before we started talking about the Houston Texans. This is from the Second Circuit, and I'm just going to read you this. It's hereby ordered the appellant, that Zeke's motion for injunction pending appeal is expedited, meaning he's going to get his appeal heard. But in the meantime, it is further ordered that his request for an administrative stay until that happens is granted. So what that means is we're going to push pause until we can hear his appeal. The lower court saying he's suspended, pause that until we can hear it further. That means he can play this weekend, and then we'll see after that. We're on a week-to-week basis when it comes to these courts and Zeke Elliott.
So it has been officially confirmed that Ezekiel Elliott has 9 lives, and he's got granted another injunction to play through his suspension again.
It's like a flower. It's like a flower during a blizzard. I'm out. I'm in. I'm out. I'm in. I'm out. I'm in. I'm out.
You know what this is? This is the most insane and indecisive thing to happen to the NFL since Brett Favre was last playing.
By the way,
I'm retired. I'm not retired.
It's like any retired player. By the way, that was Will Kane on First Take. People want to know. But basically, what this is telling me is that the court system is fucked up and they can't make it. There's too much pressure for them to take someone of popularity and officially suspend them because they keep putting injunctions on it. Now, let me ask you another question. Do you know why it took 2 or 3 days longer the first time to rule on the injunction?
Why?
Because the reason that the first injunction got delayed was because the judge was on vacation for 2 days.
What? Oh my God! It's a comedy of errors.
Do you know what I think of when I think of the Ezekiel Elliott case?
What?
I think of this. We're waiting.
Someone make a fucking goddamn decision already.
I'll take complete fucking bullshit for 1,000, Alex.
Wait, I'll take the fucking court system for 5,000, please.
I'll take Goodell for 200, please.
Oh no, it's the Daily Double.
Oh no.
I don't know, but the way this situation is, it's very odd, and now and even the fantasy owners are getting involved because now they don't know. Originally, they were told he was going to be suspended, so he wasn't going to play. Now he's back as eligible.
One of the teams I'm playing this week has Ezekiel Elliott on it.
You're probably not happy.
No.
So, I don't know. It's just totally a bull crap situation, Tom. And
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think I don't know if I said this last week or 2 weeks ago, but if Tom Brady doesn't win something like Deflategate, what makes you think that Ezekiel Elliott's going to win a case like this? That's a more serious matter.
See, what people don't realize is that our court system, as I said, is fucked up. So basically, they will grant you every injunction to play to the fullest extent of the regular season, and then they'll indict you.
But the court system's fucked up. Also, the NFL is fucked up.
No, but it's the court system that had to grant the injunction.
While that is true, it's the insanity that is the National Football League.
No, but it's not the NFL's fault.
And what is it we're debating about? Papa John we're still debating about the goddamn protests. And you know how I feel about it, so I'm not going to
come in. Wait, where'd the protests come in?
Wait, isn't that what he said?
But we were talking about Ezekiel Elliott.
We're talking about Elliott first.
You jumped, Nick. You jumped.
Hold on a second, Nick. We know you're unhappy about that, but we'll get to that in a second. So, what I was saying with the Ezekiel Elliott bullshit is that and I'll say it for Nick so we can hear it too, is that the court system will grant you every injunction that's possible to fight the case, but then they'll indict you afterwards. Look at the Tom Brady case. Okay, and when did it happen? In the off season. When is this going to happen? In the off season.
And it took what? How long did it take for Brady to finally get the suspension? It was like over a year.
It was like over a year because he took it all the way.
18 months.
Right, because it was like 9 months, 9 to 10 months, and basically, just to make a long story short, he went up to the second highest court. And he almost took it to the Supreme Court, but then he would have had to go another month or two just to sit through that. And I think he finally just said, "All right, I've had enough. Yeah, I know I might be innocent, but I'm sick of this shit in the NFL. I'm just going to take the suspension and be done."
And as I said, if Tom Brady, one of the biggest superstars in the NFL, can't win a case like Deflategate, what makes you think Ezekiel Elliott's going to win this?
I think he's going to, for some reason, I have a strange feeling he's going to win this case because I just think it's not the same as being directly involved with the NFL, with the deflated footballs. So,
but I still think they're going to be after him so much that by the time postseason comes around, he'll be like, okay, I'll take the suspension for the first 6 games of next season.
But the problem is we need to see the evidence. That's the missing link in this trial.
Well, you know what I blame for this? Goodell's handling of Ray Rice.
Obviously.
In a time like this, a certain adage comes to light. Off the pot. Suspend him or don't suspend him. Stop waffling or suspend him already.
I think we should fire Roger Goodell.
I would love to do that.
Well, actually, that has to do with the next story. But I'll make one point on Goodell.
Okay.
That they just had the meetings for the Players Association and the owners.
Yeah.
And apparently Colin Kaepernick was at it, but no one gives a shit about that. So basically, the players and the owners sat down to have discussions over what's been going on. And also the owners were having a discussion about Roger Goodell's contract extension. So, and a lot of the owners are kind of on the fence. Some want him, some don't. And then our good pal Jerry Jones, who's America's favorite owner, apparently not, decided to
can we get rid of that? I'm sorry to interrupt, Nick, but can we finally get rid of that distinction of Dallas Cowboys as America's team? What have the Dallas Cowboys done in the last 20 years?
It's a joke. It's pretty much a joke at this point. So
it is. Yeah.
But then it led to a certain controversy that's happened in the past couple days, and it seems like a pizza place got its pepperoni out of joint just a little bit.
It's not even good pepperoni either.
What?
Not even good pepperoni either.
No, it's rotten pepperoni at this point. So basically, Papa John's, John Schneider, is the real guy's name. Everyone calls him Papa John.
Yeah, John Schneider.
Right.
Which is even dumber.
But basically, he pays for all these commercials, and he basically decided to pull his commercials, and now the NFL is getting hit in its own pocket. Thoughts?
I actually haven't been following this story too much, to confess, but it's just, Jamel Hill did tweet, if you want to hurt the NFL, hurt it in his pockets, and I guess Papa John has taken to that.
Yes, and what's interesting about this story is, and I've said this to a ton of people now, is I think there's a little collusion going on here between Jerry Jones and Papa John to take the business away from the NFL. And in a sense, this will lead to Roger Goodell being fired as the commissioner.
To be honest, it's like, this is a headache, and this is not what I want. This is what I wanted, but not how I wanted it to happen. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
But what are your hot takes on this, Nick? I want to hear.
Yeah, because
First of all, John Schneider should keep his shitty opinions where he keeps his shitty pizza, in the garbage. I don't want to hear any goddamn thing about what a pizza magnate.
I think I get why he's upset, because he's upset like a bunch of other people are in this world. We don't want to see protesting during the national anthem. It's enough already.
I don't fucking care anymore about let them protest.
First of all,
please get off this?
I'm not even arguing about whether it's right or it's wrong or whatever. I'm arguing that, do you think this is a little bit of collusion from Jerry Jones' standpoint? Because Jerry Jones owns 100 Papa John's franchises, and it seems a little bit of irony that the two of them were having conversations.
He seems free to do that, just as he's free to spread diarrhea by allowing people to eat at Papa John's. Oh my God! It's just, you know what? Everybody's white panties are getting in a twist over this anthem protest, and I'm sure that's not even what Colin Kaepernick intended.
Number one, it's not, and number two, I said this to you before, Nick. Have you ever heard a news story and it just goes on and on and on and on, like a freaking car.
Well, they're dragging
around that you become so numb. It's like I don't fucking care anymore.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That they're dragging this story out just for content's sake. They're not dragging it out because there's extra layers to it. They're dragging it out so they can put something on TV. And I don't know, like the conversation I told you about before, where I was doing work for a master's class, and people don't understand the difference between following the rules and kind of crossing boundaries when discussing certain issues. And I'll leave that there because I don't want to go further with that. But basically, people, I think, overreact to certain situations, like Nick said. But at the same time, like, sponsors could get affected because if they have their money into the NFL, people are starting to turn the TV off because they don't want to see protests on their games. That's all I was saying.
Because Trailer Park Timmy can't stand any kind of self-expression, even though it doesn't hurt anybody.
It's because I don't fucking. It's like, can everybody shut the fuck up? That's the thing. Can this story go away?
I want this story to go away, but it's just that people are relentless on one side of the matter, saying that we're allowed to protest where we want, and we can do whatever.
They are allowed. They are allowed.
That's not the point I'm saying that on the left side, on one side there's going, oh, we're allowed to protest whatever we want. And on the other side, they're like, oh, no, fuck you, do it on your time. Shut up. Everybody shut up. Let's watch football.
That's what I want.
They're just using this as a diversionary tactic to explain away the fact that the NFL sucks now. It really does. And it doesn't have anything to do with liberal politics or protesting. It just sucks.
I agree. But I'm just saying that the way that this is handled is poor. And I'll play you some audio from Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk, who talked about Papa John's and why he thought this might have happened. So take a listen.
On Wednesday, John Schnatter, who you may know better as Papa John, he expressed some displeasure with NFL leadership. In a conference call tied to the release of Papa John's quarterly earnings for the third quarter of 2017, Schnatter went off on league ownership. And he tied it all to the anthem controversy, the polarization of the fan base, and he said the NFL should have nipped this in the bud 18 months ago. Now, on its surface, it's alarming because this is a major sponsor of the NFL, a company that buys plenty of ad space on all the networks to sell its pizzas because, let's face it, you get to go watch football, you're going to get some pizzas. When the sponsors start to speak, that's when the NFL pays attention. But I think the league office may pay a little bit less attention to this because there's a strong suspicion that Jerry Jones, the Cowboys owner, instigated this because Jones, at last count, owned more than 100 Papa John's franchises. And they've been in business together, the Cowboys and Papa John, since 2004. So the suspicion is Jerry Jones, who is trying to do something, whether it is get rid of the commissioner, whether it is block his extension, whether it is put such difficult terms on the table that the commissioner says, I don't want the extension. It looks like Jones could be branching from trying to build a coalition of owners who think the way that he does to finding sponsors who think the way that he does and who say the things directly that Jones dare not say on his own. Either way, it's a fascinating development. And the connection between Jones and Papa John's, I think, is close enough that if he doesn't agree with what John Schnatter said on Wednesday, I think Jones needs to come out and say so. We'll see if he does.
So I just thought that was very interesting that the two, Jerry Jones and Papa John, who owns one of the biggest sponsors for the NFL, it might be Jerry Jones putting words in Papa John's mouth.
You gotta love conflict of interest, don't you?
That's the problem. I don't think if this is Jerry Jones' doing, then Roger Goodell could come back and say this is collusion.
It's like I said, I want Goodell out.
So do I.
But to do it in this matter, I don't know anymore. I don't know.
Nick,
I'm sick of it all. I am. I'm just sick of shitty opinions. I'm sick of. God. Yeah, I don't even have anything funny to say. You know what? All I can say is, You know what? They deserve each other. All three of them.
I agree with you, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah. Honestly, I'll go one step further. The NFL deserves itself and these ratings and shit.
But one point I want to agree with that Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk said is that once the sponsors speak up, then the league is in trouble. That's true. That's a fact.
But you also have the suspicion of collusion.
No, you do. Absolutely, 100% agree. But when when one of your major sponsors speaks up, you know that you're heading for a shitty road.
Here's the thing. The things about what Papa said, of course, it's still talking about, the anthem protests and stuff, but the base of what's his name, Florio?
Mike Florio.
Yeah. Mike Florio. The base of what Florio was talking about, how it's, the fan base has become so polarized and this has just become such a, something that's gone completely out of hand. It's something that everyone's on one side of the fence and it's sickening people and stuff. As much as, you can agree or disagree with what, say, John Schneider said, and it's basically, taking one side of it. But the point of, the polarization of the fan base and how it's gone out of hand, that part I agree with. And as a sponsor, I would say something like that. Not of, let them protest or don't let them protest, but figure this fucking out because I'm fucking sick.
But I don't think it just has to do with this particular issue. I think there's other things on the back burner that are causing this problem. It's not just the kneeling or whatever shit you want to talk about. You could go all the way back to the Ray Rice situation. You can go back to the Colin Kaepernick situation.
You can go back to the freaking...
What about what's his name? What's his name? What?
What were we going to say about Disney?
No. I was going to talk about the Panthers player. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Cam Newton.
No. The guy who tied his wife to the bed.
Greg
Hardy. You can go back to I can name 100 situations, and I just saw an interesting.
And of course, the ratings decline.
And also, an interesting piece of information just came out on the Zeke front from Skip Bayless. So Keogh Roberts, the only member of Goodell's staff who interviewed Zeke's accuser, recommended no suspension for Zeke, and they talked 6 times. So just the way these situations are handled, between the suspensions, the abuse, the ratings decline, the sponsors, we need a new commissioner in the NFL, badly. Someone who understands that they need to pack a punch. We
won't get one because we can't have nice things.
No, but I'm talking about the NBA commissioner right now.
Adam Silver.
We need someone like Adam Silver in the NFL who doesn't take shit. That's my point.
I agree. It's just we won't get one because we're stuck with the ginger hammer. We're stuck.
Remember way back when I was ranking commissioners and I decided to include Vince McMahon for fun and I put him above Gary Bettman. Vince McMahon just jumped Roger Goodell.
You know what? You know what the only difference is, though, that even though we all think Vince McMahon can be a terrible guy at times, a lot of times he does it for the entertainment factor on television. So I would give him that side of it.
Plus, think about it. You talk about Goodell's defense of, in defense of Goodell, it's like, oh, he's trying to expand the league, worldwide popularity. Vince McMahon did that 3 times over.
That's all I can say. Just
goodbye Goodell and goodbye Bettman, please. Please.
I mean, but the biggest problem people are not realizing is the ratings decline in the NFL. It has nothing to do with, it partially has something to do with the kneeling, but I'm not going to say that's the main reason. But there's a ratings problem in general. The games have not been good. Monday Night Football has been a train wreck.
I was going to say, hey, ESPN, $2 billion, and look at the shit you get.
And now I'm hearing rumors that in 2021 they might let that contract go. Hey, ESPN, you know what you deserve? If you do that. Because you don't need that anymore. It's $2 billion of wasted money you could spend on people you need.
I was going to say, ESPN, you need to let go of the past. As I said last week, you need to let go of the past. You need to adapt to the internet age.
And actually, after the picks, I have an interesting story about another development that might be going on the ESPN radio side. And I put it up on the Twitter account at the UD Network. You guys might have seen it. And there might be a development happening on the radio side that might be leaving the radio side soon.
But let's, Nick, you want to say something else before we move on? Or
I got nothing.
Okay. You're listening to the Unspoken Podcast, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. Boys, before we get into Week 9 predictions, can I say something?
Okay.
I want you to do this for me. I want you to tell your loved ones that you love them so much. Then I want you to gather all of your necessary things, and then I want you to head down to your shelters. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the end in the NBA, the end is officially nigh. The Knicks are mediocre.
Oh, my God.
Have gone from 0-3 to 3-4. What the hell?
How is this possible? What kind of sorcery is this?
It's black magic.
It is. How is this possible? And even when watching these games, it's like, wait a minute. How is this? How is this blind squirrel able to find this nut?
You know what? I can only say this once this whole season. The Knicks are one game better in the records than the Cleveland Cavaliers right now.
The Knicks beat the Cavaliers. I remember that day I was watching, I think it was the World Series, and I'm like looking at my phone. And it's like halftime, the Knicks are up. I'm like, okay, ha ha ha. Very funny. That's good. Third quarter, Knicks still leading. I'm like, okay, you know what? They're going to blow it. They're going to do it in typical Knicks fashion. They're going to blow themselves up. For end of the game, Knicks win. I'm like,
you know, we're forgetting something also, that Kristaps Porzingis scored 30 points in all 7 games so far, I think.
He's done great. It's just, and Tim Hardaway too. It's just,
where the hell did Tim Hardaway come from?
Wait a minute, Tim Hardaway. Oh, that guy. Okay.
What?
You mean the guy they put on the subway or the bus?
Yeah, I think somebody might have killed Tim Hardaway and is now posing as him.
Oh, okay.
Or he might have made a trip to the brain slug planet. I have no idea what happened to him.
You know what? I'm going to make a bold prediction, okay?
Okay.
So, the Cleveland Cavaliers are not going to be a top 3 team.
What?
That is bold. That is definitely bold. You got something to back that up?
I do, because of the way. Look at their team so far this year, okay? And look at the team from last year and compare it to this year. You don't have a Kyrie Irving, who's now on the rival in Boston. Mm-hmm. You have an Isaiah Thomas, who you don't know what the fuck you're going to get from him on the court because of all the injuries. And the only thing he can do is shoot threes. He really can't do much else. And he can't play any defense. So, and Crowder's a nice player, but he's kind of an hot, ice cold type of player.
I mean, come on. I know it's early, but losses to the Nets and Knicks, that's a morale blow.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to say those 2 losses are going to kill them, but it is pretty bad that you're losing to 2 teams that really shouldn't even be playing this year. They should just forfeit the whole year. But
it's a fluke. It's a fluke. I'm telling you, there is no way that the Knicks will be able to sustain this.
No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that you're looking at this team. I watched a few games, and they look slow. They're not getting back on defense. They're not playing as a team. LeBron James. What?
You're talking about the Cavs.
Yeah, the Cavs. And LeBron James pretty much has to carry this whole entire team, and it's bad. It's sad because if they don't do well this year, he's gone.
It's, to me, after these 2 losses, it's. I think it was already championship or bust, but now it's even more. It's championship or bust. He's gone.
They're coasting through the season anyway. We all know they're going to turn it on at some point during the season and just blow through the playoffs.
And if they don't, and I'm LeBron, I'm not even going to give Cleveland a second thought. I'm just going to walk away.
But I'm telling you right now, the teams I'd look at, the Celtics are probably going to be number 1. I'm going to say that now. I think they're either going to be 1 or 2. Who else do we have? I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I mean, you have the Bucks. I think they're going to be a contender this year. The Wizards are definitely going to be a contender. I think they'll be a top 3 team.
Yeah, but it's still. I think the predictability is still there that it's going to be Warriors and Cavs. It's still too early in the season.
I don't think the Cavs are good enough. That's the problem. And
it's still too early in the season.
But it's just too early in the season to make those kinds of calls. That's why we didn't.
I understand.
We stuck with it's not with the safe choice when we made our picks.
No, I understand that, but at the same time, you can kind of see what the problems are going to be coming into the season. They're not healthy. Tristan Thompson's now out for a month with a leg injury, and not that he was doing a lot of scoring anyway, but he's a defensive presence, and they don't have it. So it just doesn't look good.
No matter what happens, it's going to be a crazy NBA season anyway. I mean, think of what we've seen. We thought the Knicks were going to be terrible, and they're just mediocre. It's baby steps, but it's steps nonetheless.
And Kristaps Porzingis is their leading guy now.
Yeah, but we knew that.
Yeah, we kind of knew that.
Well, I'm just saying that they knew that this guy was going to be a star to lead the team. They just had to get rid of Melo to do it.
And Phil Jackson.
That name sickens me so much.
Who would have thought? But it's not going to last. So lap it up, folks.
Yeah, basically.
Lap it up while it lasts.
But still, I think it's still too early to predict on the Cavs, and I still am going with I'm still going with the gut feeling that teams like the Wizards are only going to play second fiddle to the Cavs and Celtics, and the Celtics will fall to the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Final. I think it's still too early to consider that the Cavs won't make it. I mean, if by late January this is still not resolved, then maybe it's time to think it.
Well, I didn't say
Christmas.
See, I feel like you thought that when I said that they're not going to be a top 3 team, that they're just going to fuck their way out. No, I think they'll be a 4. They might be a 3, but I'd say they'll probably be somewhere around a 4 because I think there's going to be teams that are better than them right now.
But that's still not going to help the NBA Finals when Golden State's. If they are a fucking 4 or 5, they're going to get swept by Golden State.
Oh, boy.
This is why I'd rather watch the spelling bee than the fucking NBA Final.
Spell the word championship. Oh, wait. LeBron, spell the word championship. 8 straight times?
That's not nice. That is so not nice.
That really is not nice. Although, you know what's funny? Remember how it was going off a couple of weeks ago in the predictability? Like, oh, Golden State's going to beat Cleveland again, and then LeBron's going to fuck off to L.A., and then LeVar Ball isn't going to shut the fuck up anymore. But, Nick, I had failed to mention this at one point during that rant, and I was going to say, oh, what's next, LeBron? What are you going to do to announce your new team this time? And Nick, you I think nailed it. Nick Federi, you nailed the nail right on the head when you told me in class, Players Tribune.
It is going to be Players Tribune. I'm telling you.
I'm going to tell Jeter I want to make the announcement written in the Players Tribune.
Yep. But when it happens, we will be here, and I'm going to. You know what? I'm going to be so happy that I called it. If it happens, I'm going to dance. I'm going to do a little dance.
Where did you say he was going to go?
What happened?
Where did you say he was going to go?
He did. I just said he was going to make his announcement that he's going somewhere else.
Where do you think he's going to go, though? I'm asking you.
Probably L.A.
L.A.
It's just that the team is not good. That's the problem.
I know. Everyone, I know. That, I mean, there is that recent development that came out that supposedly LeBron saying he will decide next year based on.
I think he's going to go to L.A. I think he's going to go to L.A., but the problem is he's going to have to get someone in free agency to go with him.
I'm sure LA will be willing to sign whoever LeBron wants.
Probably.
Such as the NBA.
When LeBron is in town, everybody else becomes a puppet.
He's a Pied Piper. He really is. As LeBron goes, so goes the NBA. That is how the league goes, ladies and gentlemen.
And if that happens, and if he fucks off to LA, then like you predicted a couple of weeks ago, Morgan, I am begging the NBA, please eliminate conferences.
Well, they're in the process of doing that already.
I know, but I hope they go one step further.
We'll see. But enough basketball for now. We're at the beginning of the season. We'll get into that once it gets a little going. Why don't we talk some NFL and kind of look back at the crappy week that was?
Yeah, let's look at the crappy week that was, and let's look at the crappy week ahead.
It's a crapapalooza here on the Rapid Rundown, only on the Unspoken Podcast.
Before we get to the Rapid Rundown, though, let's take a quick look at Week 8 because we didn't before when we were talking about the NFL because we were too busy talking about other things about the NFL. So, first of all, we had a Thursday night football game that was just what the fuck was that? Baltimore winning 40-0.
It was Jay Cutler being out with an injury. That's what it was.
It was Jay Cutler being out with an injury, and then it didn't help matters that Joe Flacco also went down with injury.
Let's put it this way. You know how you used the word clusterfuck before? Bring it to here.
Yeah, pretty much.
In all capital letters.
Then we had a London game. Cleveland actually was winning against Minnesota, and then the second half happened.
Exactly right. Exactly right. The second half happened.
That's usually what goes on. Usually everything's going fine, and then the ground falls out from under your feet, and you fall into a bottomless pit full of snakes.
Buffalo defeating Oakland. I don't think that was really much a surprise to me.
Derek Carr in a nutshell.
Indianapolis. What a heartbreaker. When it looked like you could actually get a win, you lose it in the fourth.
And actually, believe it or not, we forgot about this news that Andrew Luck is officially done for the entire season and not playing.
Yeah. So,
that was fun.
We have T.Y. Hilton on our fantasy team.
Hey, Colts fans, didn't mean to tease you, but we're going to come out and say that Andrew Luck's shoulder injury is just too severe, and we're going to shut him down for the season. Thanks for your fandom.
Yeah, I have heard What happened, Nick?
Thanks for your money, more like it.
That's the thing. I've heard that they never put Andrew Luck on the official, the big IR, the done for the year IR because
big temporary IR.
Well, because they never said he was done for the year because they wanted to hold out for more fans' money.
Yeah, and I believe it too.
I do too. I believe it. New England only beat the Chargers 21-13.
This game was actually not bad. I was a little entertained by this game, believe it or not.
But again, New England getting exposed a little.
You know what? I think with the Patriots D, they need to do something because guys are running wild.
I'm surprised they didn't do anything at the...
Somebody's going to come along and topple that house of cards in the playoffs.
Well, look at it.
That's why I said I'm surprised they didn't do anything in the trade deadline.
No, but look, Melvin Gordon had 132 rushing yards. I mean, that's a lot for our Patriot defense.
It is. It honestly is. Then we had the New Orleans Saints with defeating the Chicago Bears 20-12. Is there any surprise there?
This game was a battle of the bad plays between Drew Brees and Mitchell Trubisky. It's just who was going to be worse. So
obviously, it's Trubisky.
Yeah, and John Fox is basically making Mitchell Trubisky a puppet by handing the ball off to Jordan Howard 28 times a game. So there's really no it's stating the obvious for the New Orleans defense. Just tackle Jordan Howard.
And then Atlanta and the Jets. And Atlanta almost lost to the Jets.
Yeah, this was about... Atlanta's heading in a really bad direction right now.
Matt Ryan fumbled twice in the rain, and the Jets just jets the fourth quarter.
It was almost like a monsoon going on in New York.
Yeah, it is. It's God going, you want to play football, huh? Here you go. Here's your rain.
Philadelphia layups the smack down on San Francisco.
That was just stating the obvious. Philadelphia is the team to beat right now.
Carolina, Tampa Bay 17-3. God help us all. I really don't want Cam Newton and the Panthers getting the Super Bowl because fuck him, fuck that sexist pig.
I
will never get over that. Fuck him.
It was just a bad game. That's it.
It was terrible. Houston and Seattle, an absolute fucking shootout.
41-38. I mean, 79 points. I mean, like, that's... And Deshaun Watson now down.
Now Deshaun's done for the season. That's sad.
I did not see that one coming.
And DeAndre Hopkins with 224 yards receiving.
That was fun. That was a fun game.
I'm like, wow.
Dallas and Washington. Well, Dallas won, and what do you expect?
Washington's a train wreck, and they got to figure out what they're doing with Kirk Cousins.
Pittsburgh winning on Sunday night against Detroit.
No one gave a shit.
Yeah, it was only 20-15 too, so nothing really spectacular.
I didn't realize Matt Stafford had 423 yards in the air, though.
423 yards in the air, and Detroit only can manage 15 points.
Yeah, which I don't get. That just totally whatever. Just move on.
And then Monday Night Football, Kansas City defeating Denver 29-19. Denver actually putting up a little bit of a fight.
Denver's got a problem, and Simeon is the big issue with the quarterback position. They got to figure out something with him.
6 teams on bye last week with Arizona, Green Bay, Jacksonville, the Rams, the Tennessee Titans, and the New York Giants all on the bye. And this week, 6 teams on the bye as well with Chicago, Cleveland, LA Chargers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Patriots, and the Steelers all on the bye. The Pats and Steelers got byes in the same week.
Who?
The Pats and the Steelers.
Yeah, that's rare.
That sucks for my fantasy teams because a bunch of my fantasy teams I have Tom Brady or Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown. It's like, fuck.
Oh, well.
Somebody up there hates your fantasy team. Somebody up there hates the fact that you play fantasy.
Somebody hates my obsession with fantasy, yes. So, boys.
Let's not waste any time, though. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, boys. Do you have your games up for week 9?
I do, yes.
I'm ready to go.
All right, let's go. All right, New York Giants and the LA Rams at MetLife. I'm sorry, Rams. I have to live up to my promise. I'm going to go with the other team constantly.
I'm going to take the Giants by 7. They're bad, but they're not that bad.
The Rams are a good team, though.
I could totally see. Oh God, I'm totally forgetting the running back's name. Top of my head. The Rams.
For the Rams, Todd Gurley?
Yeah, Gurley. I don't know. It just slipped my head for a minute. Todd Gurley's going to run all over the Giants' defense because they can't stop a runner to save their lives.
Oh so, I'm fully prepared to eat crow.
Yeah, this is Rams all the way.
Yeah. Atlanta and Carolina. The Falcons have won 3 straight games against the Panthers, but Matt Ryan is fucking struggling like shit. But you know what? Fuck it, I can't help it. I don't like. I can't.
Hey, don't pick because you don't like somebody. Pick because we're doing the games here.
I know. I'm like Nick, when I am prepared to eat crow because I'm going to pick Carolina, but my heart will be with Atlanta.
I am going to pick the Panthers by 3.
Oh, God. This is a bad game just because both teams are not doing well. But
exactly.
Not necessarily that they're not doing well, but one team has a Texas Pig as a quarterback and the other has a choker as a quarterback.
You know what? I'm gonna take Atlanta because the Panthers traded Benjamin. They don't really have targets, so now they're going to triple team Funches.
Oh my God!
So it's going to be Atlanta.
I completely forgot they don't have Benjamin anymore. That's a bit of a blow. I'm going to stick with Carolina, but man, that's a blow. It's still, what the fuck were you thinking, Carolina? I still need to know. What the fuck were you thinking? Cincinnati and Jacksonville. You want to talk about? I mean, Jacksonville. I mean, this feels like a crappy game to me. So Jacksonville's pass secondary is actually pretty good.
I read that Jacksonville's like a 10 or 12 point favorite.
I have them at minus 5.5 right now on the thing that I have. But you know what? I'm going to go with Jacksonville.
Wow.
You are?
This is a tough one. Jacksonville supposedly has one of the top defensive teams in all of the NFL.
I think they're gonna make it a bad day for Andy Dalton.
I don't know. This is a tough one, just because Cincinnati looks good, but when they run into bad, really good defenses, they look embarrassing on the field. So I can't pick Jacksonville because Jacksonville can't do it on the offensive side. So just because they're doing it on the defensive side doesn't mean they can do it on the offense. I'm taking the Bengals.
So am I.
All right. Denver and Philadelphia. The Eagles have scored 20 or more points in 12 straight games. That's the longest active streak in the National Football League.
And that streak continues. I'm taking them by 14.
Yeah, I'm going to say Philadelphia, and I think they're going to score more than 20 points again.
Yeah, they're going to score more than 20 points. Simeon's the issue. C.J. Anderson doesn't look good, and they have a lot of issues offensively. Philadelphia.
Indianapolis and Houston. So we have an Indy team without Andrew Luck and who's playing like shit against a Houston team that doesn't have Deshaun Watson and J.J. Watt. Man, that's a letdown.
Oh, wait, and wait, we have a Savage playing quarterback.
Oh, no, wait, is that official?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Oh, no. No. This game's gonna suck.
I gotta take the Colts because Jacoby Brissett. I still trust him more than I trust Tom Savage.
Yeah, I don't trust Tom Savage. I wanted to say Houston for their defense, but fuck it, I don't trust Tom Savage at all. Indianapolis.
All right, I'm going to prove the two of you wrong right now. Houston's going to win this game because they have Hopkins, they have Fuller, they have Lamar Miller on running back. They have more consistent targets, and Jacoby Brissett has been sacked the most amount of times in the last 3 games in all of the NFL. So so the Texans are going to win the game.
You know what? I'm jumping ship. I'm going to go with Houston. Just because Nick believes in Houston, I will too. My Houston faith's a little restored. Just a little. Tampa Bay and New Orleans. Well, shit.
I'm gonna go with Tampa. I've been wrong every time I picked against them, so I'm gonna pick them.
That's interesting logic, but New Orleans, they're still 5-2, while Tampa's still 2-5. I expect more from Tampa Bay, but Jameis Winston's kind of struggling a little bit, so I got to go New Orleans. I think Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara are going to run all over the field. I think, especially Alvin Kamara, I like what he's producing.
No, that you actually took the point right from me, Tom. That I think they're going to run all over Tampa Bay because they can't stop the run, and also they're one of the teams that give up the most receiving yards on defense. So Kamara and Ingram are going to run all over them, which is going to force them to play run defense, which is going to lead to the receivers being open, and Drew Brees is going to throw for maybe close to 300 yards. So it's going to be the Saints.
We got Baltimore and Tennessee. Again, shit. Someone else take this because I don't want to go first with this game.
All right, I'll try to make heads or tails of this because this is really a coin flip because both teams are awful. You still have no Mariota, right?
No, Mariota's playing.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
All right, not that matters because he's a crappy quarterback to begin with. I don't know. I mean, Baltimore's really bad on receiving defense also. And I could see Eric Decker having a big game, believe it or not.
I could still see more. I don't know.
Joe Flacco is a quarterback in disguise right now.
Right.
So
maybe Delaney Walker has a good game if he plays.
That's what I'm thinking, that because their defense is not so great, I could see guys like Delaney Walker and Eric Decker finally waking up. I'm going to take Tennessee at home.
Yeah, this is one of those cases like heads or tails. And I flip it. You know what? Tennessee. I'm going to go Tennessee. They're at home too.
Hold it in the air. Hold it in the air, folks. And it is tails. I am taking Tennessee.
All right. Washington versus Seattle. We're finally into 4 o'clock territory. Washington is 2-0 against NFC West teams this season, and they have somehow won their last 2 games in Seattle. I cannot believe I read that.
This is Seattle all the way. Don't want to hear any crap. Washington stinks. Kirk Cousins is not good. He can't make a pass in the crunch. Do I have to say anything else? And his contract situation.
No, I'm just going to say this.
I'm taking Seattle.
I'm just going to say this. Kirk Cousins, meet the Legion of Boom, Seattle. Arizona and San Francisco. Well, Arizona, Adrian Peterson, you're going to run all over the San Francisco defense.
See, knowing him, he'll stupidly run into a wall of San Francisco 49 defenders and fumble the football. And
if he does, that will piss me off.
Why? You have him?
As a flex in one league.
Why?
Because contract, because it's dynasty.
You drunk when you made that pick?
This was last year, first of all, and second of all, I have a bunch of guys on bye, so it doesn't help me.
Oh my god.
That's like guys who still have Carson Palmer.
I dropped him in one league.
But no, this is going to be Arizona's win, one way or another. It's going to be ugly, but it's going to be an Arizona win.
This is Arizona's win, but I think AP comes back. And maybe he doesn't have a great day, but this is San Francisco. He has to have a good day, right? Anybody on Arizona has to have a good day. Larry Fitzgerald is going to have a good day.
It's going to be ugly. Let's just leave it at that.
San Francisco, we might need to hold a funeral for. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Next silence.
I'm taking Arizona. I can't. It's just, I never thought I'd see this much shit in the NFL at this point of the season. It's just awful.
Here's to scheduling, guys. Here's to scheduling.
Scheduling at its finest. Just wait till the end of the season when the NFL Network, CBS, all step in and flex their final week because they don't like the game that they have, and they take the game.
I can see it.
They take the game away from ESPN because they're allowed to.
Kansas City and Dallas. This is America's game of the week. Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott is expected to play after U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals granted requests for an administrative stay. But you know what? I think that will not help the Cowboys. I think Kansas City is just too good this year. I think Kareem Hunt's going to have another good day. I'm picking Kansas City.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but ironically, America's team is in America's game of the week. But put that aside for a second. Let's see. Ezekiel Elliott plays. Not going to matter. Kansas City's too good. They had a few bad games, but they're going to run all over Dallas and destroy them. Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm taking Kareem Hunt, baby. I'm taking Kansas City.
Sunday night game of the week. Oh, speaking of crap, it's Oakland and Miami. The Dolphins rank last in the NFL in points and yards per game. 13.1 points per game, 252 yards points per game. Good God, if Oakland can't win this, they can't win anything.
Oh, my Jesus. My Jesus, my Jesus, my Jesus.
Could they pick a worse game to be on Sunday Night Football?
Oh, God. I'm taking
to make a pick.
I'm taking the Raiders.
The Raiders.
I was just giving you the answer, and yeah, that settles it. Monday night game of the week. It's Detroit and Green Bay. Well, the Packers are 0-2 since quarterback Aaron Rodgers has been down with injury. I was going to say, well, this was a good game, but then Rodgers got hurt.
So I'm taking the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take the Lions. I mean, I want to believe in Hundley. I mean, as I mentioned weeks ago.
I don't.
No, listen. But this is like I said weeks ago, this is becoming very similar to how Aaron Rodgers started when he was stuck behind. They put what's likely a Hall of Fame quarterback, and then that quarterback went down and he had to replace him for the rest of the year. But this is just not working out for Hundley as it did for Rodgers.
This is an awful game. I mean, you know what? I'm trying to figure out a way to give Brett Hundley some benefit of the doubt. It's kind of hard because he's not throwing the football, which means Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb are utterly useless now.
And he's not giving it. He's only giving it really to Aaron Jones. Ty Montgomery's not doing shit.
See, that's the problem. When you take Aaron Rodgers out of the equation, all the normal guys are basically useless. I'm sure everyone in fantasy is like crapping their pants right now because
pretty much the fantasy world is in tears with this Green Bay team
because Aaron Rodgers' favorite target was Randall Cobb and also Jordy Nelson. Now they're not getting the ball at all.
Welcome to mediocrity, Pats fans.
So unfortunately. If this was the normal thing, I would have taken Green Bay, but it's not normal circumstances, and he's out, so it's Detroit.
Hey, Packers fans, enjoy the off season. Vikings fans, enjoy your division title. I'll say that. This is the year. This is the year for the Vikings to get the division title. I'm just really going to say it.
Something to make my dad happy after all.
Exactly, and something for me to watch other than the Giants sucking.
Wait, so your father won't go into withdrawal, though?
No, but he'll just have his heart broken in the playoffs.
Can you imagine if the Vikings somehow magically won the Super Bowl?
I actually would be very happy. I actually would.
You would have to resuscitate my father.
Oh God! But now that we're done with the picks, I have one more interesting media story. If you want to end on that.
Okay, what is it?
So I reported this about an hour or so ago on the Undetermined Twitter account, and it's all over the place, that Bomani Jones, who hosts his radio show on the national platform, might be having his show canceled.
Why?
And still waiting for complete confirmation, but a lot of sources are putting it out there. And they're spinning it as that they want him to focus on the new TV show he's doing with Pablo Torre in the noon spot. But
wait, a new show that? What about Highly Questionable?
Highly Questionable is at 4:30 or 5 o'clock.
I know. I didn't know they were doing another show.
Well, no, Pablo Torre and Bomani Jones.
Oh, Pablo. Okay.
Yeah, but the real issue is, and people are not seeing it, is that his ratings have been utter shit in the 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. spot. So,
what ESPN rating is utter shit this time around?
So now they're not saying it, but they're going to have to find a replacement to put on the national slot from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. on ESPN Radio.
Can I recommend something?
Oh no! What?
Hi ESPN, we're the Unspoken Podcast.
Can we have some of that sweet money? We promise we won't court any controversy.
No politics necessary.
Come on, we can bring in ratings.
We won't need any contest. We swear we'll stop swearing.
Yeah, no swearing necessary.
Pretty please.
We are grad students.
And we've done a lot of radio.
Yes, we have.
So that's my little appeal to ESPN.
Watch, they're going to pull something out of their ass. Like we already see their lineup is starting to fall apart. Mike and Mike is no longer going to be Mike and Mike. It's now going to be Trey Wingo and Mike Golick from 6 to 10 in the morning.
I'm going to miss Mike and Mike.
Good morning. You're about to call in sick.
Well, yeah, but he's moving over to television, so you can watch him on... Actually, it's not January 2nd anymore. It's now in the spring. But he's going to have his... What?
No, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. But then you have LeBatard's show from 10 to 1, which they barely talk sports to begin with anyway. Then you have the Drunken Idiot in the 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. slot. And Ryan Russillo.
And then 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, you have the golden hour, the hour that makes me so happy. Around the horn and pardon the interruption. The only good shit left there on ESPN.
They should just put those on the radio instead of having someone on the radio.
They should just do around the horn.
Stop giving them ideas, Morganson.
What?
Stop giving them ideas.
You know what? I'm chock full of ideas. So... You know what? We should take the Unspoken Podcast and turn it on into the Unspoken something, so it could be on the radio.
Or how about we just make it? How about we just make our own TV network and we be our new sports center, our own sports center?
Oh, that'd be sick!
You don't want to see this face on TV. I have what they like to call a face for radio.
Oh, you don't know.
You can't see me, folks.
But then we could be like that. That This is Sports Center commercial where after we're done with the American version, we do the versions all over the world.
Yes.
The only thing I would be qualified for is to be Dan LeBatard's stunt double.
Really? I could see that actually.
Oh my god.
Yeah, thanks for throwing me under the bus, boss.
Nick, you don't want to dress up in lederhosen and do a German version?
Oh no, I always thought I looked good. I always thought I looked good in one of those hats with the feathers in it.
All right, I think we're going off the rails a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll end it here. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Unspoken Podcast. Go like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope at the UDUP. Go like the Undetermined Podcast Network itself at the UD Network on Facebook and Twitter. Any other plugs I should plug?
No? Well, I have a question. So I know we're coming up to the holidays, right? Are we going to do a giving thanks episode for Thanksgiving week?
We should. I don't know if it should be the week before or week after Thanksgiving, but we should have a segment where we give thanks and then we pick, like, pardon the interruption, as we pick a turkey of the year.
Yes, we should. Folks, we're going to do a giving thanks. No, we should do a giving thanks episode where, like, we'll do all the discussion, all the opinion, but it all in the end has to do with giving thanks for weird shit.
Yes, and then at the end we will pick one of the worst sports figures of 2017, and we will name him or her the turkey of the year.
Yes, we will.
Turkey.
All right. I think we've done our due diligence. I think people are probably going to get annoyed if they don't hear anymore.
Also, we're on the road to 50. We're still on the road to 50.
What episode are we on again?
40. This is 43.
Oh, my God. Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait. We're going to have the Give and Thanks special. We're going to have the Best of Unspoken Podcast Season 1. We're going to have episode 50 on the 1-year anniversary. This is cool.
Merry Podcastmas.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is going to be fun. All right, so for Nick Federa, Nick Morganson, I'm Tom Albano. You've been listening to the Unspoken Podcast, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. We'll see you for episode 44. Until then, take care, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Can everybody shut the fuck up? Shut up! Everybody shut up!